Top five, top five, top five.
All right, welcome to the countdown, ladies and gentlemen. With the MLB All-Star Week here, we thought, what better idea to do than the top 5 greatest home run hitters of all time.
With the home run derby on the brink, why not just list the top 5 greatest home run hitters of all time? The funnest part about baseball is seeing the ball go out the park, see players trot around the bases, big-time bat flips. That's what we're all about. So we got your top 5 greatest home run hitters of all time.
100%. Just to specify, this isn't necessarily just ranking the top 5, greatest home run hitters based on total home runs or anything like that. It's taking into account all the extra factors of their peak and their longevity, how great of a power hitter they were total, and just their overall greatness when it comes to hitting the ball out of the park.
Y'all know us. It's going to be well-rounded with us. So we got a bunch of different factors that come into this list. So that's why our list is going to be a little different than you might expect it to be.
Right, so stay tuned to see why each player is where they're at.
But before we get into it, make sure you smash that like button and double tap that subscribe, because we're coming back every single week with some fire-ass episodes.
And before we get into the countdown, go check out Fan Gear Nation for some great jerseys.
Not only do they got jerseys, but they got canvases for the wall, shirts, sweatshirts, and all of this for the low. But don't worry, we still got y'all with a discount code.
That's right. This is PSO's official merchandise partner, so you can use code PSO15 for 15% off your first order. So go type in fangearnation.com while those low prices are still available. Support your favorite squad and save a good amount of money while doing it.
And now, back to the countdown.
So getting into number 5, we got Ken Griffey Jr. starting off the list, Brandon. Maybe the sweetest swing in baseball history right out of the gate. And when you look at the all-time leaderboard, this is exactly why we say we don't have, just the top 5 on the all-time home run list, because Ken Griffey Jr. does come up short, but you got to think about why he came up short. He was a player who was dominating for the first 10, 12 years of his career, but then he suffered some injury concerns once he went to Cincinnati, and that obviously derailed his hopes of chasing the home run leader at the time. But when you look at what he did during his prime, when he was in the 1990s, in those home run chases with McGwire and Sosa and just hitting bombs all the time, obviously we think of Ken Griffey as a full 5-tool player with the speed, his ability to get on base and make plays in the outfield. But when he made contact, almost every time you're thinking it might go out of the park.
100%. Ken Griffey has one of the slimmer frames on this list, and as a matter of fact, his nickname is The Kid. Like, he came into the league and took it by storm, was playing with his father. They got that record, the first father-son duo to hit back-to-back home runs in the same game.
Exactly.
And like you said, Rob, one of the smoothest swings of all time. I mean, I could go right now and watch 15 minutes of Ken Griffey Jr. just hitting home runs and wouldn't get tired of seeing a single one. And he only played for 2 teams in his MLB career, the Mariners and the Reds. So Ken Griffey's really one of those guys. The Kid started off, but he kind of got bigger as his career went on. He got a little chubby and wound up dealing with some injuries and stuff like that. So unfortunately, he kind of flamed out, or he would have been higher on the most home runs list of all time.
So yeah, Ken Griffey was a number 1 overall pick when he came into the league, but at number 4, we have a complete sleeper in the draft in Albert Pujols, Brandon.
Albert Pujols, 21 years old in his rookie year, 37 bombs. I'm telling you right now, that's more than double than anybody on this list. And like you said, Rob, sleeper straight out the Dominican Republic. Most teams didn't even know about him, and somehow he just came in and just started hitting bombs after bombs after bombs. Won Rookie of the Year, finished top 4 in the MVP race. I mean, Albert Pujols is the machine. I mean, he did it for a very long time, consistently just put up big numbers, and that's why he just hit so many home runs and has been one of the most impactful home run hitters of really our generation.
Yeah, got that top 4 MVP right off the gate with the Rookie of the Year, and he didn't slow down there. Kept winning 3 MVPs in that 10 years, was an MVP candidate year in and year out, just dominating for the St. Louis Cardinals. And unlike Ken Griffey Jr., he didn't really suffer many injuries throughout his career until he turned like 40 years old. So he was able to compile home runs after home runs and ultimately enter the 700 home run club when it was all said and done.
The machine, the true problem.
Yeah, they call him the machine for a reason.
Damn right.
So moving on to number 3, we got Hank Aaron for the Atlanta Braves and the Milwaukee Braves doing his thing. Really the pure home run leader of all time in many people's eyes, considering the asterisk next to the guy ahead of him. But hitting 755 home runs throughout his career is just something that was unfathomable when he first entered the league. Obviously, someone above him kind of set the standard of what the home run means, but Hank Aaron took it to another level, just hitting the ball at record rates throughout his career and really putting the Braves on his back throughout his career as well.
Hammerin' Hank, one of the best home run hitters of all time, a true pioneer in the home run game. Number 44, actually led the league with 44 home runs 3 separate times in his career. So that tells you the consistency that he was bringing to the plate every single time. Big-time Atlanta Braves player, like you said, Rob, arguably has hit the most home runs of all time. There's been some question marks around a different player, but, I mean, Hank Aaron's truly, like I said, a pioneer of hitting bombs.
Absolutely. So getting right into those question marks, though, at number 2, we have probably the most controversial player on this list. We got Barry Bonds, B.
Yeah, I mean, Barry Bonds, you see him when he first came into his league. Very slender kid, kind of built like Ken Griffey Jr.
Right.
And then you just see him blossom and blossom and blossom. And then all of a sudden,
like Barry Bonds went from my frame to your frame.
He just blossomed up, man. And then all of a sudden hit 73 bombs at 36 years old. Barry Bonds had been a very consistent player. Has hit a lot of home runs throughout his career, but obviously hitting that 73 is what really brought him over the top of Hank Aaron. We've seen Barry Bonds to some of the most massive, some of the most memorable home runs of all time. I remember when he hit number 763 or number 762 into the river. You see people diving out the boats, getting to it. Literally $1 billion ball basically at that point. Hey, Barry Bonds, big-time player, big-ass head, a lot of big-ass home runs as well.
Yeah, he was, just something else during his prime. Like in that 2001 season, just in that really 5-year period from 2000 to 2004, I don't think there's ever been a better pure baseball player in history than that version of Barry Bonds. And obviously there's going to be some people that believe Barry Bonds should be number 1 on this list. There's going to be some people that believe Barry Bonds shouldn't even be on the fucking list. Yeah. So obviously we had to, factor in a lot of different things when it comes to Barry Bonds, but it came down to this. Barry Bonds is the all-time home run leader. He does have the most season home runs of all time. He has a lot of records, 7 MVPs, the most walks, all these different things just really brought a new level of hitting to the game of baseball. And whether you want to say it was steroids or not, there's no test that says he tested positive. Obviously, we all have our presumptions of what took place and why he got to that level, which is why he wasn't number 1, but he's still obviously one of the greatest home run hitters of all time, and we can't act like it didn't happen.
I mean, absolutely. He's the only player on this list that is not in the Hall of Fame, and that's strictly because of the steroid allegations. So hopefully Barry Bonds gets in one day. Hopefully we get a little bit more clarification on the situation, because I don't think personally he ever failed a drug test or failed a steroid test. So there's still a lot of things up in the air, but we'll see what happens with Barry.
Right. That's what he was saying in court. I never failed a drug test, sir.
That's facts.
But moving on to number 1, we have the greatest home run hitter of all time. We're talking Babe Ruth, okay? Arguably the greatest baseball player in history. And when you look at it, he started out as a pitcher, right? He didn't even come to the plate much or do anything, do much damage in the batter's box. But then once you saw him get in there and start slugging bombs, doing things no one's ever done before, he literally changed the game of baseball, turned the dead ball era into the live ball era, and really brought in this whole new aspect of baseball with the home run ball and trotting around the bases, as Brandon was talking about earlier. And it just goes to show how much of an influence and impact Babe Ruth had earlier in the game, and obviously one of the biggest pioneers in sports in general.
I mean, literally Shohei Ohtani before Shohei Ohtani. Right. I mean, imagine being the greatest pitcher in the league or one of the best pitchers in the league and then turning out to be one of the greatest hitters of all time. Yeah. Like you said, Rob, I mean, he might have hit a combined 12 home runs in his first 4 years of his career. And then after that, just literally created the home run. Yeah. Made the live ball era. And just the fact that he truly, he wanted to be a pitcher most of his career, and just the fact that he was able to transition so smoothly into hitting home runs to completely change the game, it's hard to not say that the great Bambino is not the greatest home run hitter of all time.
Absolutely. So there you have it, the top 5 greatest home run hitters of all time with the Home Run Derby and All-Star Week here. We look forward to seeing how it all goes down. But if you want to go look back at the archives, these are the 5 greatest home run hitters to look at.
And make sure you smash that like button and double tap that subscribe, because we're looking forward to seeing a lot of home runs during this All-Star break.
Absolutely. See you guys next time.
Peace.